Hey everybody, it's Margot.
Guys, I'm such a fucking actress.
And Lydia.
Strong black woman over here.
But you already know why we're here.
Pop off, sis.
I went commando on public transportation, huh?
Oh my god.
I love a good lazy river because I'm lazy and I like water.
Pop off, sis.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of hungover right now.
The content you may not want but deserve.
Pop off.
I think I popped off about that.
You popped off.
Pop off, sis!
Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome on this kind of rainy day, but it's been sunny lately, so that's been nice.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Margot, every time you do the intro now, I like mock it. Not mock it, but I'm like mouthing it as you say it. I'm like, hello. Hello, everybody. Happy end of March. Almost April. It's almost April. Oh my God. Time is flying. I'm just saying.
I can't think about it.
I know. You're about to graduate. It's fine. It's fine. Margot, tell me your rose this week. What's going on?
So Friday, I had an audition for the Kennedy Center on Zoom, and it went okay. I'm not gonna lie, I was so nervous, and I didn't really feel nervous before, and then I got on the Zoom and my nerves literally took over. And so before you say a monologue, you slate where you say, hi, my name is Margot and I'm going to be doing these monologues. And I literally was like, hi, my name is Margot and I'm gonna be, and I was like, no. But then once I got into the monologues, it was better. Well, the first monologue I was doing, the girl is supposed to be really nervous anyways, so I was like, oh, that works. And then after we just had a conversation, and then I totally chilled. But that first slate was so bad, and I was so nervous, and I was like, my God, I am out of practice. But thank God theater's coming back. It's coming back. Broadway by September is what they say. I don't believe it, but it's hopeful.
It's hopeful.
So that was my route. That was my rose.
That is crazy. That is so exciting. The Kennedy Center. So this is like for like a legit, like you would be there for multiple plays, or is this like for one play? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so they have this program called Theater for Young Audiences where they take shows and they develop them, and to fully develop them, it takes about like 2 years. But anyways, they start off with doing these workshops, and it's making these shows for kids. And then sometimes you tour the country doing the show, and you invite local students and stuff to come see it. So it would be performing, rehearsing, the whole thing at the Kennedy Center, and then maybe going on tour. I mean, it's like a very legit thing.
You had me at tour. I'm about to be backstage on Margot Gervais passes. Like, I love the behind the scenes. Say less. You had
only thing is that the audition didn't go smooth. So, and they're auditioning like 500 people or something. So, we don't know, but audition is practice and it is good.
Yes. Well, good luck. Sending you all the positive vibes on that. Your background is perfect for it. It looks like you're in an audition room. So that's literally perfect. Like you're the closest you are to being in person. So isn't it frustrating too? It's like you're getting nervous and like you're in your own house. Like you could not be in more of a comfortable setting, but you're still, I understand. Well, congratulations on the audition. Amazing. Kennedy Center, here we come. My rose, I'll keep it short and quick, is that I have received my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine for this COVID-19. I know that could come with a little controversy. Yes, I am a healthy 23-year-old, and I'm very grateful to have received a vaccine, and just know that when it is your turn, like they all say on the news, get vaccinated. But it couldn't have been an easier process in terms of the actual vaccine itself. So I'm excited to hear when you get yours, Margot. And yeah, just very grateful.
I would just like to say, if there's anybody who deserves this vaccine, okay? If there's anybody who deserves this vaccine, it is Lydia. Lydia has not seen anybody. She has taken all the precautions. She's literally been a COVID angel. And I respect her so much for it. And thank you for your service. And you were deserving of that vaccine. And I'm glad they stuck you in the arm. And that's sexy. So hooray.
Margot said earlier, she said, I'm horny for the vaccine. It's true. It's true.
I need to send the vaccine a you up text, see if they'll come over.
That's hilarious. Yes. Okay. What's popping this week? I'll start us off with what's popping. This past weekend, Maya Rudolph made her return to Saturday Night Live. It was their first episode back. You know, they take like weird hiatuses, like they'll be off for a few months and then they'll come back or whatever. So, you know, she's a fan favorite. She was on the show, I think, starting in 2000, and it was a hilarious episode. She's, you know, her, Kristen Wiig, Rachel Dratch, they're all icons in the comedy world. So it was really funny. I recommend you watch it, Margot. Like, there were consistent segments throughout the show that were like actually funny. They did a Hot Ones. She played Beyonce, and they did like a Hot Ones segment, like based on that YouTube channel. I don't know if you've heard of it. And that was really funny. Yeah. So that was good. It was funny. And yeah.
Well, I saw one little clip of it, but I will have to watch the rest. I love SNL. I just think sometimes they're really not funny. So I love Maya Rudolph though. So I'm excited. Another thing that is happening this week is Hannah Montana has reappeared after 10 years. It started off with Miley Cyrus writing a letter thanking Hannah Montana, which ended 15 years ago, or no, it ended 10 years ago, started 15 years ago. She wrote Hannah like a love letter and posted on Instagram. It was very sentimental. And a few hours later, the only person I think it could have been was Miley Cyrus, but someone made a Hannah Montana Twitter account that was verified and wrote a bunch of funny tweets, including tweeting Migos and saying, "Thanks for writing that song about me." I stan, and it was a great moment of the week.
I can't even believe I hadn't heard about that until you said that. I'm gonna go stalk the account later because that's so funny. Thanking Migos. That's true. They did make a song. Wow.
They did. And a catchy one at that. So
very. And I'm glad that Miley did that because I feel like interviews that I've seen when she talks about Hannah Montana, she's like kind of defensive or like really wants to separate herself from that and like remind people that that's not her. So I'm glad she still isn't, you know, is positive about that whole experience. And 10 years? Like, are we old? What the fuck? 10 years. 8/7 Central on Friday nights. You know your girl was laying in that bed ready with her popcorn and her Capri Sun juice box ready for the latest That's So Raven episode, Hannah Montana episode, Sweet Life episode. Oh, nostalgia to the max. Anyway. Okay. Also, what is this about Billie Eilish that you were saying earlier to me?
She dyed her hair blonde and she looks amazing. Oh. She looks so good. I mean, she went from green to blonde, you know, it was quite the jump, and she looks gorgeous and amazing, and I love this hairstyle. And
she does. I went and looked on her Instagram after you told me, and she looks great. And just growing up, it's crazy that she's like still a teenager, right? Or is she 20 yet even? 19? Like, she's like a woman though. Like, you know, especially with celebrities, they grow up faster. But okay, blonde Billie, hello, welcome.
Oh, alliteration. I didn't even think of that, Lydia. That was amazing.
Sorry. Thanks. Okay, not popping. You start us off.
Guys, Chrissy Teigen has left Twitter. She has deleted her account. You can't see any of her old tweets, at least on Twitter. I'm sure many people have screenshotted them. This comes after she was getting some hate on Twitter. She made this one tweet a while ago that was like talking about how rich she was, but it was like a joke about this bottle of wine that her and John Legend actually accidentally bought one night at dinner that was $10,000 because their waiter had recommended it to them and they didn't realize until they paid the bill. Anyways, it was like still a funny tweet, but she was trying to be relatable, and then she got a bunch of backlash and hate because they were like, you know, Chrissy, you have always painted yourself as someone who is relatable to us. But the truth is there is this huge divide between her status and most people's status on Twitter. Right. Anyways, I still loved her tweets. I'm sad. She has left Twitter. She's done with the hate. She doesn't need it. She's famous enough. She has a lot of money. She just launched a new business with Kris Jenner.
Shout out Safely with Kris Jenner.
But she left, and honestly, RIP.
RIP. Like I saw a lot of, commentary on it, and they were saying if someone like her, who was like very out there on Twitter, like hilarious, but also like presented a very thick skin, if she couldn't take it anymore, it's like, imagine, people that aren't celebrities that get hate and all that. This is a loss for the nation. Like, I'm very sad. I'm very sad that she's off Twitter. I guess she's still on Instagram, which is good, but I wonder, I need to research more about that, because I just wondered what really drove her to just delete it, because she presented a very thick skin, in my opinion. Like when she was upset about something, she would tweet like, fuck off everybody, like
Right.
so I wondered like what was the last straw for her, but she just went through a very sad miscarriage and was very public about that. Her emotions are probably all over still, so RIP, like you said. Crazy. Okay, we got to give the bachelor tea somehow in the episode. Go ahead.
Claire and Dale were spotted in New York City kissing with their masks on, kissing through the mask. I am cringing. My skin is crawling. I mean, people saw them in Miami, somewhere in Florida together last month. So not surprising, but just also, I just kind of don't want them together.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
Just how I feel.
I agree with you. I also just don't get it. Like, I don't get, like, it's just all seeming so inauthentic now. Like, did they actually break up? Are they just actually together and that was all fake? Like, I'm kind of over them, actually.
I'm so over them. I'm like, move on, new page. Okay, don't care.
I swear, if they give Claire a fourth chance, I'm done. My new entry into Bachelor Nation's over before it began, because no more. Also not popping. Margot, do you follow like the YouTube versus TikToker beef that has been created now in our society?
No.
It's kind of new, but basically there's this whole thing now about like who's better between like YouTube celebrities and TikTok celebrities. And there's this whole boxing trend that has been going on for a couple years now, like with the Paul brothers, Logan and Jake. Jake is now like the serious boxer because he knocked Nate Robinson out, who was a basketball player, and everybody thought he was going to win, and then he lost. He got knocked out by Jake Paul, a YouTuber. So there's this whole trend now. There's like another huge boxing event coming with YouTubers and TikTokers, and Bryce Hall is on the I don't know boxing, okay? So somebody tell me, but he's like on the highest ticket. Like he has the biggest fight against Austin McBroom, who's from the Ace family, who's a very popular YouTube channel. He and his wife, and they have 3 kids. So I'm just over it. Like it's just like they're just doing it for money and more fame and all that. It's just dumb, but like people will pay to watch it. I will not pay to watch it. I will watch it on YouTube when someone records it later.
Right.
But I'm just not, to me, it's just not popping, because it's like, it's just random, and they like, they're knocking each other out for what? Like, it's just stupid. That's all I have to say. I just had to get my frustration out. Oh, speaking of TikTokers, also Addison Rae. I'm sure you know the name.
Oh,
have you
certainly.
heard the new song?
I did. I watched the music video. Okay, here's the thing, Lydia. Here's the thing. She can dance. I didn't know she could dance. She looks hot as fuck in that music video.
Right.
Okay, the song is like,
it's not bad.
It's
not
I mean,
awful.
honestly, I'm obsessed with myself too. So okay, but what bothers me about it, and I want to hear what bothers you about it, but what bothers me about it is that this girl has literally filmed a movie. She's been cast in another TV show. Now she gets to create music, all because she became TikTok famous. And I don't actually know if she has this talent or not. You know, people are just given these platforms, and then people want to make money, so they throw them opportunity. And I'm like, can we just get some people who maybe have like studied acting and singing in the limelight? What is your feeling about this?
No, I would agree. Like there were so many comments on the video, and it's true. Like all these TikTokers want to just become artists now, and anyone who gets a little bit of fame from anything, they all of a sudden want to go to music. Like,
yeah, she
can't exactly sing, in my opinion, and I cannot sing, so I can never really judge that. She could sing better than I can, but it's just like, yeah, it's just like, great, you're famous, you're rich, like you said, you're in movies now, of course you want to become an artist. Just random. I figured she could dance because TikTok, even though some people say that's not even dancing, so I don't know.
Right.
But It's just like, ugh, that's all I can say. I was just like annoyed. Like, of course she has a song out now. The acting bothers me more than the music, but
Right.
both are just dumb. And the song Obsessed is about her breakup with Bryce Hall, who she was dating him for almost a year to, I think like a year. He's, they're both TikTokers, and then they famously just broke up about a month ago. And it's about how he told her he's obsessed with her. And she was like, me too. Like, I'm obsessed with me too. And then she made a song about it, and it just happened to coincide with their breakup. So it's fine. Nothing is pre-planned. This was all just a coincidence. It's fine.
It's fine.
Moving on to our topics of the day. Let us start with Sharon Osbourne and the latest on her. She is leaving the talk show The Talk after CBS concluded their investigation on the show. So The Talk is a show on CBS, and Sharon has been on the show for all 11 seasons of the show. And there has been a lot of turnover with the co-host, but she has been on since the beginning. So this is kind of wild. So you will have to do the main research yourself, and that's just going and watching a video from a couple weeks ago on the show where Sharon and her other co-hosts were talking about Meghan Markle and Piers Morgan. Obviously, we've talked about Piers Morgan and how he's all over the news because he's been very outspoken against Meghan for I don't know how long, and he got flack. The biggest thing was him not believing Meghan's story after the Oprah interview and her not really being having suicidal thoughts, and he just doesn't believe any of her stories about everything that happened with the royal family. And on The Talk, Sharon was very adamant about defending Piers because she's his friend, and she just didn't agree with him being either he was fired or he quit the show he was on in the UK, and like she just was on the minority side of that whole discussion. All the other co-hosts thought, Piers is kind of disgusting with his comments, but she is his friend, so she defended him. So when they were talking about all that, the conversation just got very heated. Sharon like cursed during that conversation. It was bleeped out, but basically she got very defensive and felt like she was being called a racist, and she was adamant about she's not racist, all that. And the main dialogue was happening between her and her co-host Cheryl Underwood, who's a Black woman. And at one point Sharon's in the conversation like Cheryl is getting emotional, and Sharon's like, if anyone should be getting emotional, it's me, don't you sit there and cry. And like people took a big issue with that because she clearly was very defensive, but that's like whoa, Cheryl, the optics of that. Cheryl, a Black woman keeping her composure because she has to keep her composure, and Sharon going all up in arms and victimizing herself as the white woman in the situation. We could go down the whole thing. I want your thoughts, Margot. I'm just going to read CBS's statement and then turn it over to you. We're a freaking news show. And so CBS put out this statement. Sharon Osbourne has decided to leave The Talk. The events of the March 10 broadcast were upsetting to everyone involved, including the audience watching at home. As part of our review, we concluded that Sharon's behavior toward her co-host during the March 10 episode did not align with our values for a respectful workplace. We also did not find any evidence that CBS executives orchestrated the discussion or blindsided any of the hosts. During this week's hiatus, we are coordinating workshops, listening sessions, and training about equity, inclusion, and cultural awareness for the hosts, producers, and crew. Going forward, we are identifying plans to enhance the producing staff and producing procedures to better serve the hosts, the production, and ultimately our viewers. So that was CBS's statement on that. There was a lot of turnover on the show, and previous co-hosts include Leah Remini and Holly Robinson Peete, who are both actresses and just TV personalities. And Holly Robinson Peete has been very active on Twitter and just like on social media since this whole scandal has happened with Sharon. And Holly Robinson Peete was fired back in 2011 from the show. And Holly Robinson Peete said, I'm old enough to remember when Sharon complained that I was too ghetto for The Talk. Then I was gone. I bring this up now because I was mortified watching the disrespectful, condescending tone she took with her co-host, who remained respectful because ... she had to, which is like what I was saying earlier. And then Peete said, I loved being on The Talk, but sometimes awesome gifts come in humiliating packages.
Ooh.
T. Okay, Margot, I know the answer to this, but have you seen this clip and what are your thoughts?
Yes, I watched it right before we recorded. I actually had trouble finding it, like just the clip. But anyways, I watched it, and here's the thing: is it is like the most. I don't know how to. Okay, what do I want to say? Okay, this clip of Sharon like crying because she feels like she's being called a racist, and then telling her co-host that she can't get emotional after she like cusses at her for thinking that everyone's calling her a racist, is the most Karen thing I've ever seen. And it is like kind of the way that generation, and not just that generation, honestly, just white people in general, but I think it is one of the most quintessential ways that I have seen like older white females react to being called racist. And she felt like, it's like completely up in arms. Then the tears come, then the cursing comes. And it's like, okay, like chill. First of all, no one flat out was like, Sharon, you're a racist.
Right.
Nobody said that. They were actually having just an open conversation. And her co-hosts were being so nice to her, like so easygoing. And she just lost it. And it's like, okay, well, why did you feel like you were being called a racist? I mean, obviously Sharon got emotional because some part of her knew that her defending Piers Morgan was a problem, right? Like something had to be triggered in there. So there was probably guilt involved. But I like the way she lost her cool was so unprofessional. Like just her bleeping out all this stuff, and it only makes her look worse. It only makes her look like more of a racist individual. And then her telling her co-host that she can't cry after she's the one who verbally assaulted her. But this is not your position to tell someone what emotions they can and can't have, especially on a talk show where you just lost your shit. It was gross.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I took a little bit of an issue with part of CBS's statement itself, because like they started off saying that Sharon Osbourne has decided to leave the talk, like as if it was her decision. And then later on, they admit that in reviewing what happened, they concluded that her behavior toward her co-host did not align with the values for a respectful workplace, aka like she was in the wrong, so she needed to be punished for that. So it's like, just say you've had to fire her. But so I hate that like she kind of has the upper hand in that way, but I know like we're all smart. We can read between the lines on that. And it's tricky because like we all know like free speech is a real thing that we have in this country. And I don't think that, Piers Morgan should have been punished for saying his opinion, because we all are entitled to our own opinion. So in that way, I can understand why she's defending him. But obviously it's like his opinion kind of went beyond a normal, like, I'm disagreeing. And
he had it out for Meghan Markle. Like
right.
He has this vengeance against her that is really creepy and like uncomfortable. It's like, what is your problem, dude? And the other thing is like, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what your job is, if you cuss out and scream at one of your coworkers, you're probably going to get fired. Like that is unacceptable workplace conduct.
Right. And I try to put myself in her position, like playing devil's avocado or whatever. And I'm sure, in the moment she was thinking, shit, we're on a TV show, a national TV show on air. Like I'm looking like a racist, freaking out, like at the optics of everything. And like, if you're accused of something that you truly don't feel that you are, you're going to be upset about it,
Right.
So that, yes, but also it's like, it's not too far-fetched for, in this case with Sharon and some of the things she said, to be aligned with, racist ideals. I think there's like an old clip of like, and okay, this is almost like not even necessary to bring up. I'm going to bring it up anyway. Like there's an old clip of them talking about Meghan Markle on the talk, and Sharon Osbourne said something like, oh, she's not black. And they were like, yes, she is. Like her mom's black, her dad's white. She goes, oh yeah, well, she's black, but she doesn't look black or whatever. And it's like, I know we all have those kinds of things. Listen, I'm a light-skinned black person. I get it. Like, I know how we look doesn't necessarily reflect what we are, like what we assume someone is.
Right.
But that kind of has been resurfacing too, as just kind of like another example of just her and her comments. But it's fine. Like you said, it's gross. Obviously, CBS made the right decision in this case, even though they're not saying it was their decision. They're saying Sharon decided, whatever. I'm stuck on that verbiage. I'm not over it. So we don't know yet. It's not clear if CBS is going to bring on a fifth member to replace Sharon, but they are on like an extended hiatus now, and they will be back on Monday, April 12th. So best believe I will set a recording for that Monday episode, because they're going to have to address everything.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Margo, I've been talking. I'm going to let you start us off on this next topic.
Well, Demi Lovato dropped her new documentary, the first 2 episodes of Demi Lovato Dancing with the Devil. It's pretty crazy right off the bat. I mean, right away. So the documentary is supposed to be about her life and her journey since she overdosed 2 years ago in 2018. That was a very famous overdose. The phone call to the emergency room or to 911 was like leaked all over the place. And this documentary gets right into it right off the bat. You learn that Demi was relapsing with crack and crack and heroin, which she says she had never done previously. It started off with her drinking. She said she just wanted to try drinking. She had never really done it before, and she felt like she could handle it. And then behind the scenes, she was doing a lot of heroin and crack and was high all the time. People didn't really know. And it includes all of her friends and family. So you are also getting their very personal accounts of everything that happened. And it's crazy.
It's crazy. You're right. And, for some fans that have been following along, she had, my foot's waking up from being asleep. I'm sorry. Oh, the
That's
pins
the
and
worst
needles.
feeling, yes.
The pins and needles.
Give it a little shake out.
No. And why when it happens, it feels like your foot just wants to move. Like you have to do everything in your power not to move it. It's like the air all of a sudden is like trying to move your. Okay.
You good?
I think, then you get over the worst of it, and like you can go back to living your life.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So thank you for introducing that. Just a few takeaways I had was, I can't help but feel like her documentaries are kind of like a recipe for disaster or a recipe for a relapse, because this is her third one. She had one a few years ago with MTV called Stay Strong, and that was about her first admitting to all these demons that she had that all her fans didn't know about. Yeah. And it came out later that she was high during that whole documentary where she was professing getting sober. And then a few years after that, she came out with the YouTube documentary Simply Complicated, which was like what everyone thought was like her true authentic self, talking about being sober. She admitted that she wasn't sober for the first documentary and how she just has really reshaped her life. So in 2018, when we found out about this overdose, we were like, holy shit, like again. So now she has this Dancing with the Devil documentary out, and it's like, hopefully third time's the charm, and this is for real. And it does feel different. It's just like you can't help but think of that parallel and like, wow, she's done this before. But honestly, like, she's hit rock bottom in terms of this overdose. The next rock bottom, unfortunately, is losing her life. So hopefully that won't happen, and like I said, I feel like this one's different. Like you were talking about, her family and friends are involved. She has like her doctors in it talking about everything she went through and all the residual effect. I didn't know so many things that can stick with you after an overdose. She mentioned she can't drive anymore. She has blind spots. She'll pour a glass of water and miss the cup completely. So I didn't realize that kind of thing. I think she said she had a heart attack, 3 strokes throughout this overdose, like crazy, crazy stuff. So yeah, I also feel like she's not the type of person that can like dabble in things. Clearly, she can't just like do a little crack or like drink a little bit. But she recently admitted during a promotional interview for Dancing with the Devil, she said that she's quote unquote California sober, where she smokes a little bit of weed. And I think she said she drinks a little bit. And that's just part of her new life journey and like this whole moderation thing. So hopefully she's able to maintain that, because to me, that was a little scary to hear her say that, because that sounds like kind of what she did before.
Her breaking her soberness every time was from all of these restrictions that she was giving herself in life and that the people around her were giving her. She talks about her eating disorder, how certain foods weren't allowed around her, how people couldn't talk to her about certain things. And so it's definitely weird to hear that someone who is an addict is actively not using hard drugs or anything, but actively drinking a little or smoking weed. But I do think that like soberness gets so much painted as like there's AA and it's a one size fits all and you have to be sober for the rest of your life. And I think that for some people, that just is going to continuously, like her, lead them to close to death encounters. So she's probably in a learning phase of learning what it means to be like truly sober and to stay away from the things that could kill her. And what really killed me about, I think it was in the second episode, she talks about when she woke up from the overdose and she couldn't see anything. And her sister was right next to her and she didn't know it was her sister because she was completely blind when she woke up. And then one of the interviewers says, the first time you got sober, it was in response to your parents saying you couldn't see your sister Madison. And to bring it full circle, you couldn't see her in a literal sense.
Yeah, that was deep. That was wow. Yeah.
I mean, I wish the best for her. It's really scary, but what I really admire is that even though this is the third one of these, like she is being honest about how hard it is to be sober, especially in the industry that she's in. And she's showing the real struggles because when you get sober, it's not like, oh, sober for the rest of my life, everything's good. And I really respect when people do that. And also like Dax Shepard, who is Kristen Bell's husband, he is also someone who has been very honest about his struggle. He recently revealed that he'd been using painkillers for a few years and hadn't been totally sober. And I think it's just important to be honest so that you give people who are like you hope.
That's so true. Very well said and relatable. And that's honest because an everyday person most likely relapses, you know? So that's good that they're not glamorizing it. And it's important. So I agree with you. I think just going back to what you were saying about having good people around her, I think that is huge. You know, just hearing them retell the story of that morning of the overdose and how, you know, her assistant was on the phone telling the guy, can you keep the sirens off? And at first, you know, she was scared to even call 911. It's like, you got to draw that line. You know, you hear celebrities talk about yes people around them and just like doing whatever they want. It's like, no, like to me, that's what came to my head when she was talking about having the sirens turned off. Like, this is a medical situation. Like,
right.
It's like the level of enabling has to stop at some point. And so hopefully, you know, she's built that team, it sounds like now. And it's just, it was wow. And I last thing, but for real last thing is, I don't know if you picked up on this, but in the second episode, it started off about, you know, the details of that morning and of the overdose. And I thought about it in the eyes of someone that had no context about Demi and not knowing that she was alive and lived through this. Because if you noticed for the first like 10 minutes of them describing everything, like Demi she didn't say a word in the documentary. It was all the other people, which makes sense because she was unconscious, so she wouldn't know what was going on. But to me, I just thought that was very effective the way they filmed that because it made it seem like she didn't live through it. And so it was like them talking about everything in the from the past, talking about now, you know, like the what happened. So it felt very like a documentary about someone that had passed away and they're talking about everything that went down. And then obviously we see her because luckily she lived through it and all that. But I just thought that was like a very effective way to do it. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But like you said, wish her all the best. And, you know, this is hopefully a very new chapter for her and her vulnerability is very important.
Okay, this next topic has really taken over the internet, taken over the world in the past few days. One of the most famous YouTubers, David Dobrik, has lost sponsorships, lost followers, and been under fire after allegations came out that this young girl who was in one of his vlogs from, I think 2 years ago, she came forward and said that she was sexually assaulted, really raped in a video that David had put clips of her interacting with Dirty Dom, which was one of David's best friends, in the video, and that then David had gone on to post this video online. Now, originally the girl gave her consent for her to be in the video, but after 3 months, when she was thinking about the fact that she literally was unconscious and could not consent to sex with Dirty Dom, which, like, if you're already friends with someone whose nickname is Dirty Dom, what are you doing? But 3 months later, she sent a text to both Dom and David detailing the events that had taken place that night, in which she was under 21. Her and her friends were under 21. They had fed her alcohol. They had gotten her to a point where she literally could not stand. And all of the Vlog Squad members who were there that night saw her literally needing to be held up by her friends. There's a video of it in this vlog that was taken down. So 3 months later, she asked David to take it down, told them both what had happened. He did take the video down, but continued to be friends with Dirty Dom. And this has kind of finally resurfaced, and it is a whole mess. And he made one apology video first on a second channel. So not even like on his main channel that has 18 million subscribers, where it was titled Let's Talk. And I think it was like 2 minutes long, and he turned off all the comments and the likes and dislikes. So it's actually really David Talks. He did obviously not get a good response to that one. And then he deleted that and uploaded a new apology video, which is 7 minutes long and has 10 million views and counting. Lydia, thoughts on the videos? Have you been following on this, and what is your take?
Yes, like you said, it's one big old mess. Very shady of him to do the Let's Talk. And I was just double checking. He left the Let's Talk video up on his Views YouTube channel, which is his podcast channel that has 1.7 million followers, as opposed to the almost 19 million, like you said, on his main channel. And in the second apology video, he actually mentioned that the first one was inauthentic, not as good, but he's not going to delete it because that would be also inauthentic. And so he left it up, whatever. But I mean, the whole situation, everyone involved is a piece of shit for that. Obviously, other than the victim, just saying. Dirty Dom might need to go to a dirty jail cell for what happened. There's been speculation that David himself should be held accountable in some legal way. I don't know. The jury for me is still out on that, because I don't know, we don't know the exact legal system and how that works, complicity. I'm sure there could be a charge somehow for that, but it's all messed up. I mean, it's beyond cancelable. And I was listening to some interviews about the whole situation, and a lot of people in the Hollywood scene, especially in the influencer world, a lot of the younger ones, specifically like some of the Sway House boys, were talking about how, when they were younger and they weren't famous, they looked up to David Dobrik. And when they came out to LA, they would hear different reputations about different influencers. And David legit always had the best reputation. Like, he genuinely is a good person and a good guy. So it was hard for them to like talk about it. But because, there's a lot of, I guess, influencers that come off one way, but are truly like assholes. So it's like, we hope that David really was affected by this and doesn't think it's right. But it's been a couple years. Like you said, he continued being friends with Dirty Dom, continued filming videos, never addressed it until, quote unquote, it was, back up in the news and you got caught, that whole thing about you don't apologize unless you get caught. So yeah, I think I'm for whatever punishment comes. Definitely Dom. And I don't know, the latest on the victim, how she's feeling about everything in terms of how she's speaking out on social media or whatever. But also in David's apology video towards the end of the second one, he was like, I'm here. I'm giving an open invitation for anyone involved in the situation to talk to me. And it's like, dude, like, you reach out to them. You better be working day and night to get them to talk to you. Don't sit back and be like, come on, I'm free to chat. Like, do everything you can to be, and not in a public way. You better be sending texts, phone calls, emails, anything behind the scenes to right this wrong. So,
which he straight up admitted he didn't do in the second apology video. And just real quick, let me
get close.
Okay, well, this is all tangled. Give me a second. All right. tripod off. Here's the thing. In this apology video, he says, quote, I couldn't wrap my head around a childhood friend of mine doing this to people or hurting people. And I'm sorry for that. Let me hit you with some facts, David Dobrik. How come I know so many women who have been raped and sexually assaulted, and yet I don't know any rapists? How come 1 in 4 women by the time they leave college are raped? You're going to tell me you couldn't wrap your head around the fact that your childhood best friend, whose nickname was Dirty Dom, could rape somebody after someone literally texted you and told you she was raped and you did nothing and you continue to be friends with him? It makes my blood boil. It makes my blood boil that so many men don't think any of their friends could be rapists. Well, the truth is, a lot of them are. Those are facts. And you know what else? Maybe it's just not a good idea to have a group of YouTubers making content together, because there is always a problem. Let's not forget Logan Paul and the Suicide Forest, okay? Let's not forget that video. Let's not forget anything Jake Paul and Team 10 ever did. It's just often not a good idea. Just putting that out there. Okay, off my soapbox, returning this to the tripod.
I think that's all that needs to be said. That's all that needs to be said. Thank you. We are popping off in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, listen, here's the thing that I have learned about self-care. Okay, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what self-care isn't: taking bubble baths. It's not going on long walks or long hikes. It can be. No, self-care, true self-care is paying your bills on time, going to therapy even when you don't want to go, eating healthy, working out when it's the last thing on earth you could even fathom doing. That is true self-care, and it sucks, but it's true.
Okay, I'm going to go on a little serious rant here for the next 30 seconds, but obviously gun control has been on all of our minds lately. This country is insane when it comes to mass shootings. Correct me if I'm wrong, but do hunters really need an AR-15 to kill a deer? My biggest issue with gun supporters, besides the misunderstanding that gun control means completely taking away all guns, is that some of the same people that sit there feeling attacked at the thought of not being able to own an AR-15 also have the nerve to tell a woman, me maybe, what to do with her body. So by that logic, women must have that baby because you say so. But if that child is shot dead in her preschool classroom, maybe her kindergarten classroom, you simply send your thoughts and prayers and suggest maybe the teacher should have had a gun to kill that shooter. I don't want to hear another pro-military person give their thoughts and prayers for a shooting ever again. I'm done.
Preach.
That's that. I know that was serious and it's a lot of loaded points, but that's how I feel and I'm over it.
I agree.
So yeah, that's that. And let's do a little moving forward. Kind of relates to that point because we're going to talk politics. I have some exciting news in my own family. My very own cousin Amara Andrews, resident of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, is running for mayor.
What?
Very exciting. So exciting for her. She officially announced her run for mayor last week. And if elected, Amara would be Cedar Rapids' first African-American mayor and would also be the second female African-American mayor in Iowa. So she's such an amazing person, amazing wife, amazing mother, amazing cousin, and future mayor, hopefully. I know we are in Maryland, but if you happen to know anyone in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, please tell them to go to amara4cr.com to learn more about her campaign. I'm plugging you, cousin, wishing you all of the best. I will link everything relating to her campaign in our description. So please learn more about Amara. She's the best, and she's got a lot of plans, hopefully including some legislation on criminal justice. So excited for her, and I just wanted to let everyone know that.
That is so exciting. You know, a future politician.
Yes, that's right. Speak it into existence. And we're going to wrap up with our quotes. We're going to just bring down the mood a little bit. I'm sorry. I know I got a little animated there, but it had to be said.
It had to be said.
And, you know, we're open to all opinions. So maybe we'll have future guests on to just have a little debate. So my quote is from the CEO of Sweatpants and Coffee. Her name is Nanea Hoffman. Might be saying that wrong. It's also, the quote has been stolen a lot by some celebrities like Keanu Reeves and Christopher Walken have both been attributed to this quote, but no. Anyway, it says, none of us are getting out of here alive, so please stop treating yourself like an afterthought. Eat the delicious food, walk in the sunshine, jump in the ocean, say the truth that you're carrying in your heart like hidden treasure. Be silly, be kind, be weird. There's no time for anything else.
Aw.
Live it up.
That is so true. That is so true. And I've been inspired by Lydia's Savage Seconds. I changed my quote. It was going to be a more wholesome thing. I know we just brought the mood to calm, but I'm going to excite the energy again. This is an excerpt of something that I wrote my sophomore year of college, the day after the Parkland shooting. I wrote it in a devised theater class, and it still holds true, very much so. So this is an excerpt of what I wrote. They say we're too young, too immature, too uneducated to know what the hell we're talking about. But you lived through it, through the paralyzing fear that this young man with a gun would take away your future, your friend's future, your brother or sister's big, bright, blossoming future. So what the fuck do they know? How could they know? How could I know until I am staring down the barrel of an AR-15 or hiding in a closet or pretending to be dead while the blood of my teacher begins pooling around me, staining my clothes and skin with that wet, sticky maroon that means death is upon us. They say those kids did not die in vain, but how can they say that when the same narrative is played over and over with the same end result? They say insanity is doing the same action repeatedly and expecting a different outcome. Well, then I guess we're all fucking insane if we see people shooting up a school and continuing to simply send thoughts and prayers, but expecting it to never happen again.
That's beautiful. That insanity line, Margot. Amen. It's a lot to think about. It is, but it's important and it's true. And thank you for writing that and for sharing it. And we hope you all are having these kind of conversations with your family, with your friends. They're tough. And, you know, we like to hear the other side of it too. Just because Margot and I agree does not mean we're not open to learning more and listening to what others have to say. And so let us know your thoughts and just have the hard conversations. And of course, as much as you can control it, stay safe.